This is not a good call. Alright, so we are going to tell our story about the Bahama trip. What we thought was going to be pretty easy and a little bit of work, a little bit of relaxation, turned into more work than the relaxation, I think. So you've heard about Louie a lot in my videos. He's a great friend. Louie's a lot like me, where we're very optimistic in how much we can get done in the time frame we have to get it done. I'm gonna tell the story as quickly as I can, the best I can, but remember this is like a 4-day trip summed up in like 5 minutes. So me and Sarah start off by dumping Parker on about 4 different people, mostly family and people he knows, so not like he was stuck with strangers, but that was hard. Probably the longest we spent away from him since he's been born. It's good for him, builds character. Harder on us than him. We run to Chattanooga Airport very late.
11 in the morning. We got up at 3 in the morning.
There you go, Mark telling her wrong. 3 in the morning flight, that's right. I don't sleep until I wake up. We arrived down in Florida around 9. Ashley takes a 2-hour drive, picks us up. We drive back.
It took like 6 hours to drive back.
It was terrible.
All the U-turns and then things we had to pick up.
How many U-turns have we done so far?
Two. Well, there's like 8 layers of roads here, and it doesn't tell you.
Something that I tell Louie is that he's welcome to drive.
No, I would not want to insult you by taking the wheel away.
You are actually much kinder than Louie is.
That's the only one I got on you, Mr. Louie. Yeah, we had to make stops, take a bearing puller, had to get breakfast, and it was just U-turns. That's really it. Yeah. So ladies, I slept most of that trip. How many U-turns did we do total? Anybody count them? Come on, give me an estimate.
Maybe 6?
6? That's fair. 6 U-turns. Anyway, I'm gonna say traffic was bad, but all I know is I'm in the back of this car almost drunk, tired, and just can't figure out why we're not there yet. I thought it was close. So we finally get there, and the first thing I know as we pull up is the props are still on the boat. We're supposed to be out of the marina in the water at like 3 o'clock on this day, and we're getting there at like 1 o'clock. So obviously we knew we had a lot of work to do. Sarah says it's going. Do another valve. It's still lots of pressure. The bearing puller was not going to work. We didn't have a torch to heat the props. We didn't have a prop puller that would fit this boat, nor did anybody else in the marina. So we had to call in some favors. We found some guys in the next door marina that specialize on, working on these big boats. And of course they come over and they're like, nothing we have will work. I'm like, well, we have to heat the props. They go get a torch and just torch the prop. And you expand dissimilar metal, meaning if there's a shaft and a circle and they're tight fit, if you heat the outside, it'll expand. The shaft doesn't expand at the same rate because it's not the direct heat, and that gives it room for it to come off, and that's how the prop came off. However, these props are covered in like $800 worth of prop speed, which is a paint that keeps barnacles and stuff from growing on them, and they're also bronze, so it keeps them from deteriorating in salt water. Louie had just had the bottom paint and the props we put on like 3 months ago. So ideally you wouldn't be torching that off, but it is what it is. A little problem here. The boat's got a crack in it, and the water from the bilge area under the motor is coming out of the boat now. We do not have time to fix this. We were going to do a fiberglass repair on this, but we got some heavy duty rhino liner, and we're just going to Spray that on there. And then we messed up our prop speed a lot. So, you know, instead of having prop speed, we're just going to kind of just do that. Use that, and look right there, we're about to burn it. We're going to paint that in. Make sure that crack's nice and thick, heavy. We'll come back to a second coat on that in a minute. Everybody says, why didn't you fix the bearings when you had out of the water last time? Great question. These Cutlass bearings are in metric and very hard to find in the U.S. This boat was not built in the U.S., and most Cutlass bearings are standard measurements, and these are in metric. Guys, we are somewhere in Fort Lauderdale area. No, we're flown in Fort Lauderdale. Where is this? This is St. Pierce. St. Pierce. Near Stuart, Florida, outside of West Palm. And we have removed this. How do you do that? This camera there. There it is. This from the boat. So this has a rubber bushing on the inside that goes around the prop shaft, and it squeezes into the fiberglass, and it's basically just a bushing to keep the prop centered and going smooth. So due to those little knuckles being wore out, we'll show you the other one, the prop is going dingy 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 inside of it. So here's our new one, and you can see they're bigger grooves, pointier. It's going to hold the shaft tighter. And so this is 70 millimeters, and we have to get it milled down to what this one was, which was like 67 millimeters. So we're going to go in here and get this machine shop here, Colonial Metalworks. They have hooked us up. They said they'll let us slide right in. They'll throw it on a lathe. They'll cut it. And we got 2 of these, and hopefully they get their shaft out. We'll go to the boat and throw it on and get this trip underway. Right?
Yeah, we're supposed to be in the Bahamas.
Yeah, because we're supposed to be in the Bahamas and we're still in Florida. And it's like a 100-mile trip, about 10 hours of cruising. So we're excited to get going. So let's get this on the boat, get the boat in the water. So Louie Special ordered the bearings, scheduled the boat to get pulled back out, and here we are. So we get there, prop loader doesn't work, torch them off, get the props off, get the shafts out. Me and Sarah are like, hey, let's just run the machine shop, we'll turn them down real quick. Well, they had told Louie they'd do it in like 10 minutes, and they told us it's going to take 3 or 4 hours so they could get to it. So we just missed our pullout. I mean, it's already like over there at 6 o'clock now. So we go get some food. I'm sorry, I missed a whole step there. We didn't get the props off that night.
Till the next day, yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't get people there until the next morning at 8 o'clock. So we go to the hotel the first night, forfeit our pullout. We have a 1 o'clock hard pullout that day, and then we miss it. There's a boat there that's getting put in behind us. We're in their way. They have to wiggle that boat in around us, and they're like, hey, at 4 o'clock, boys, if you don't have this thing put back together, you're not getting into like Wednesday after the holiday. So I was sitting here cooling off, waiting on Louie. I just saw a really cool trawler getting put in the water here, so I'm going to film all of this for you guys. Oh, hit my head. Didn't expect us to be here, did you? Man, you did great with that. That was awesome. And we're like, no, like, we have to go to Bahamas, like, today. Like, we have to be there tomorrow. We have flights booked, all this stuff. So, now the deadlines are real. I mean, now we're on like a 5-hour deadline. We get the bearings out, cut them out, take them to the machine shop. They're like, we can't have them back to you like 2:30. We're like, ah! You're going from 2:30 to 4. Like, this is getting close. So it's about 12 o'clock. We send Louie to go get his COVID test. Because you have to have a COVID test supposedly to get in the Bahamas. They never looked at it.
Which also requires a COVID vaccine or a COVID test.
Which we have.
Which we
have.
In a sense, we have.
We have.
In a sense.
We have.
Yeah. I've done it.
So
don't have results.
The results are supposed to come back in 2 hours. But while Louie's getting his COVID test, and Ashley's supposed to be picking up the bearings and bringing them to me, I get a phone call. This is not a good call.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Chris, how are you, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
Hey, doing okay. Do you have 5 seconds to walk me back through that tool crash, kind of the condition of that bushing, and if you've got one of them already done, if that was the second one?
No, it was actually the first one. It was taking a while because I got video of it. That thing was badly out of round from the get-go.
Okay.
It was screwed, but that had nothing to do with the tooling crash. The thing's, man, there's gouges.
When the machine shop put the bearing in their lathe, they didn't get it centered in the lathe. And as they were turning the piece, it was oblong and wiggling. And you can hear the guy on the phone call say, you know, this thing was jacked up to begin with.
There's dents. It's
okay. That's okay.
It's bad. It's like the end is smushed in. Yeah, man.
All right. Here's the thing. So one of those was going to get turned down to 65.5.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you can make it so that the back end will seal at the boat, and the side that's gouged out, we can just clip it out, so to speak, and flip it and put that inboard inside the fiberglass, if that makes sense?
I'll
So,
tell you what, let me send you a picture of this right now, so you can kind of see what we're looking at, if that makes sense.
And I'd come that way, but we're already carless. But Louie would be there within 20 minutes, and he's the machinist, so maybe he can jump in there with you and figure something out. The end of it was all crinkled and mushroomed from the beginning. It was never going to work. Because that's a special order bushing that's no way of getting, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Totally understand.
All right, well,
I'll send you the picture right now. I'll wait for him. All right,
look forward to it. Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
So I made a deal with him. I said, look, we're not going to be all pissed off. We're not going to be the bad customer. We're really in a corner here. Remember when I told you the owner of the boat, my friend's a really, really good machinist. I was like, now's when you have to let him come in and help fix this. I was like, if you let him come in and fix it, he's like, no, these things aren't going to work. They're not fixable. I said, well, they're going to have to be. I've called everywhere in the U.S., everywhere in Florida, can't find a metric cutlass bearing. Okay. All right, guys. So this is like the worst news of the day. So by now you're seeing that we took 2 bushings over to the machine shop and got them to turn them down, one to 67 millimeters, one to 66.5 millimeters, and that's the diameter of the fiberglass hole that I'll show you in a second in the back of the boat. The machine shop just had a tooling crash, meaning basically whatever tool they had in the jig to cut it either slipped out, came loose, broke, I'm not for sure, and that thing's turning at a couple thousand RPMs, and that tool just started raping the bushing. So what they're doing now, since the picture, we're going to see if we can salvage half the bushing, part of the bushing, enough that we can get it in the boat and make our voyage, because this is a special order bushing that Louie says we're not going to find, we're not going to get, and we've only got about 3 hours to get this boat under the straps and on the crane in the water. So this could be the no turning back point of the trip right now. So anyway, they're going to send us a picture. We're going to show you that picture when we get it, and stay tuned to see how we work on this issue. Once again, Country Boy will survive. We're going to find a way out of this marina. So of course Louie gets there and pulls through, crunch hour, cuts off the bad part, puts it back in, mills it down. All good. I'm like, I knew we could do it. Ashley arrives with one of the cutlass bearings for me to start putting in, and as soon as we put it in, it's like clunk. It doesn't fit. It's like, uh-oh, this thing's not going to go in the hole. If you smash these with a hammer, I mean, it's like, I don't know, millimeters of bronze with rubber in it. So the bronze just mushrooms. It's like crap. So we get sandpaper, sand it down, get it in, get it going, start tapping it, and all of a sudden it just stops moving. How bad flare it is before we shut it all in there? Not so bad at all. We're like, well, just cut the rest of it off.
So this is the one I took. This one's out, so I gotta, as you stick it through. Yeah.
The guys in the marina are just like, you boys are crazy. This is not how you do this. We're like, well, we're going to the Bahamas. We got this boat put back together with 1 hour to spare. We're scrambling, he's dodging, they're lifting.
I'm happy. I'll be honest with you. Oh, whatever he's saying, it's happiness.
So they messed the bearing up at the machine shop. We let them use their equipment.
Yeah.
I was like, just when Louie gets there, let him do it. They said, okay, it's your shop.
Yeah.
So you went there, you fixed them. We started putting them in. Did you think it was going to happen?
No, there was about 30 minutes there. I just saw no path forward. And so we have an hour. We beat it by an hour.
Oh, we're cool. We're going to get a spear gun.
Unbelievable. There's so much beer. It's unbelievable.
We're going to get a spear gun. So do lobster. All right, guys, we're going to drop this thing in the water. Sarah's going to film it. It's going to go all the way in the water. We're going to back it up, tie it up, relax, and have a cold drink. Stay tuned. Let's hope they don't drop it. If they don't drop it, we're going to the Bahamas.
People were bracing for the end. Hell is where we're all reaching. This clash is all of our ideals, asking answers to those who have no will.
Get the boat in the water, stop at West Palm, have a good dinner, wake up at 6. We had a little leak, had to fix it after it cooled off that morning. We get rolling out of Worth Inlet. All right, good morning, guys. It is 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Our parking spot is there, and we are rolling. So we are leaving the Key West area. Sorry for that light there. And we are heading out to the inlet. So, all right, almost to West Palm. Coming out of Vero. Beautiful. Got some salmon. It's Publix, but it'll be delicious. Louie at the helm right now, just chugging away. All right, guys, here we are. We're at the Worth Inlet. We got West Palm back here. So we're halfway across, so there's no land in sight. We're about 40-ish miles across.
Yeah, actually, I think we're 40-ish. I'd say we got 36 to go before we get.
So yeah, we've done almost exactly 40 miles, really.
Yeah.
Just a hair over 40. And where are we aiming for? What part of the Bahamas?
We're hitting Freeport, which is the capital of the Bahamas. It used to be, I think, a lot of activity in Freeport. I think it come down a lot. So this is mainly just to get us in the Bahamas. We're going to fly home, go back in a couple weeks, and move it to the real destination, which is Spanish Wells.
That's going to be the play trip. So we've done all the hard work. That's going to be the one to get to relax.
And then it stays there for hopefully 6 months. We fly across, once a month and play for about a week.
Hey, Thomas, the generator, it's on. It's actually not on, but
Yeah, we have an inverter now, so we've upgraded everything. So
we don't even have to have the generator.
No, we got power and we have no generator. So
And the weather's nice. We have these vents on top opened up, which gives a lot of breeze to the cabin. Side windows, so it's actually not stuffy at all. I mean, it's just
a lot of air moving.
A lot of air moving. It's hot air, but a lot of breezy air moving. 40 miles off the coast, can't see land in any direction, and you hear this loud crash. I mean, it was so loud. It's like the refrigerator, ate the floor. And you hear crashes in these boats, right, Sarah? I mean, it's rough out there, and glasses are shattered every once in a while, and things are sliding off of cabinets. Dinghy or something. Hook grip. This was a bad crash. Bad. All I know is I hear Sarah start, not screaming, but addressing the fact that one of us needs to get out there very quickly. So this used to be up here, making a hanger bracket. So finally ripped. And that caused the dinghy fall, which caused the coolers, and the gas can, the battery, and the drain plug, which I don't see.
It's got to be there.
I don't see the rest of it. And all I hear her saying is the dinghy, the dinghy. I'm like, what? And I look out the bottom of the boat, and the dinghy is upside down, like dragging in the water, motor first, and like only hooked in the front. It doesn't look bad in the video because we already got it right side up and kind of half re-rigged, but it was terrible at first. Mind you, when I look past the dinghy, everything that was in the dinghy is now floating in the ocean. And you wouldn't think 13 miles an hour in like that 2-minute time would get you spread out very far, but it was over like a half a mile. We're in 2,600 foot of water, like the deepest part of the crossing, and the currents are taking stuff everywhere. I started seeing like paddles and oars. I know we need these things, and I'm like, we're never gonna find that again. So I just dive in and start swimming after it.
No. I don't know if that's true.
I grab this oar and turn around, and the boat is like small. I'm like, the boat is way away. So they get the idea to throw the kayak in and come kayak to me. Just a nightmare. Like you'll see in the video. I mean, there's a cooler over here, a fuel pump for the dinghy, a fuel tank for the dinghy, another cooler over here.
We're getting the cooler.
We don't even know what we lost. So we collect everything, re-rig the dinghy, carry on, make a drink, finish the trip. It's getting late. Customs is closed technically. We're like, we're just gonna slip in the marina. All right, so we have made it to our spot in the Bahamas, but unfortunately, we kind of bypassed customs, hoping we could do it in the morning, maybe not have to do it, maybe figure it out here. Like, we might need to do customs. Maybe we'll get lucky and just be able to kind of slide out. And as soon as Louie got off the boat, he walked up to the lady here at the marina, and the first thing she asked for was custom clearance and boat registration. So he had to say, we don't have it. Louie checks in the marina, and they instantly are like, where's your custom forms? And she was pissed. So she was like, okay, well, we're calling customs. Called customs. They came back to work. So now they're at another marina about 5 miles away. And they're like, yeah, we'll wait for you there. So we're like, okay, well, do we have to bring the boat? They're like, yes. So we're in this beautiful parking spot. Nice actual cat behind us. Beautiful marina. It's pretty tight getting in. Like, it was pretty gnarly, right? Rocks, like, I don't know, 6-7 feet off each side, only 3 foot deeper than the bottom of the boat, and we're gonna have to go do it one more time. So, as I told Louie, too easy to do it once, we do it twice. So we're gonna untie and go to customs. So, wish us luck, and we'll be back in a couple hours and fire up the grill. I don't think it's supposed to look like that. Thanks, stay tuned. We almost made it. Not yet. See y'all soon. can't not go to customs. You have to go to customs. So, okay, well, we'll go. You know, like, no, it's not okay. You have to go to customs. So you can imagine, we finally make it in the skinny inlet. We only have like 2 foot of clearance along the boat. We get in, get tied up, and instantly have to untie like an hour before dark and go 3 miles up to another marina. Meanwhile, the tide is dropping in the Bahamas. So when we came back, that 3 foot of water had turned into literally 0 foot of water in one spot in the boat. And I had a pretty strong bet that the transducers weren't going to make it this trip. So tell us what these things are, Phil.
These things are sonar transducers.
What are they going to do for Louie? Other than get ripped off the bottom?
How long of life will they have?
Nobody knows. So these things measure in front of the boat and back, kind of a triangle pattern,
out,
right?
Measures forward and out.
So he'll be able to see it
anything
coming.
out between 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, out that way.
And it was that close. I still think we took some sand. So then the next morning we only had about 3 hours to wake up and get everything reset and kind of closed down, got the dinghy running. Boat is good. Starter probably need to have another one on the boat. You want me to get a serial number off of it?
I already got one.
We need to bring one. It's on borrowed time. You want a freshwater inset since we're here, or you'll get out of the water?
We gotta get out of the water. Let's
You want to run it real quick?
you go for it. Cheers.
See a fast girl. Didn't get to any lobstering. I wanted to catch some lobster. We shortened our trip up quite a bit, but got to the airline Bahama Air, and they do. I shouldn't say that. I want to say like Americans. It's not right. They were having a bad day, and there were some cultural differences. It's a funny story. We thought our flight left at noon out of the Bahamas because of Louie, not because of my travel agent over here. So thankfully we planned to leave the boat at 10 sharp. Now we didn't leave the boat at 10 sharp because that'd be too easy. We left the boat at like 10:20 unsharp.
And I had to like hold the taxi and push them.
So Sarah held the taxi. By the way, they do not leave the cars running in the Bahamas and burn fuel and like leave the AC on. So it was cooler outside on the parking lot. It was hot in the Bahamas. So she held the taxi. We did a lot of stuff. We measured stuff. We cut stuff. We pumped out water. We shut down bilge pumps and turned on bilge pumps. Flushed out the dinghy motor. We did a lot in this 20 minutes. Lots of little things. They kept adding up. So then we get in, and it's like a 10-minute drive to the airport. So super easy. The taxi lady was awesome. Coolie taxi. We be jamming. I'll show you her business card in the video. We then found out that 12 o'clock flight was really an 11:15 flight. It landed in Fort Lauderdale at 12 o'clock. So they didn't want to let us on the plane. So anyway, we get there to realize our flight's 11:15, not 12. And it's an hour before your flight. And if you're not there an hour before your flight, you're done. So we were there like 15 minutes before the hour cutoff, 15 minutes after the hour cutoff, 45 minutes before our flight. And they told us, sorry about your luck. I tried to bribe them. I tried to thank them by buying them lunch. They didn't like it. I didn't even bribe it. It was like, look, there is no other flight. So after the holiday, we have to get home to Parker. We have to get home to work. Like, the plane's right there. The door's open. The steps are there. There's no security really to speak of. Like, we got to make this work. I do not give up. So we were able to get on. Louie was pissed at me?
The lady.
Oh, the lady. Yeah, she did not like my persistence. Made it back. That's the end of that trip, really. Just navigated the airport for 12 hours, back to the States, got here at midnight, got to see Parker. It was a great trip. It's been as eventful as some of the other trips. Ashley may not have known it at first, but the other trips weren't exactly smooth either. So in retrospect, this is the smoothest trip so far.
Yes, I would think that.
Which is
Even with the little shenanigans.
and the props and everything else.
Yeah.
It's
Now the maintenance side of it, honestly, and Joe was a huge help, unbelievable. Wouldn't have done it without him. But that was, we ended up getting ourselves into a little bit of a pickle in terms of timing. We were about to be stuck on dirt for 4 extra days, and we didn't have 4 extra days to have. Should be fine. The guys normally can handle everything.
well, thank you for letting us tag along. We've done lots of boating trips together. But you've got to take the bad that you're given and dealt and turning into a positive. So this trip was a lot of work. It wasn't meant to be this much work. We knew we were going to be used and we needed help. But I think this trip is a great way to show teamwork and resources and just not stopping and picking up. So take that with you. Hope you have fun with it. I know we had a great time. And check out other videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Follow us. Get some aviation. Follow this one. And we could definitely use your comments and your views. And we appreciate you very much. Thanks for letting us share your story. Stay tuned for the next one. See you guys later.